Good morning, Metaverse. I'm Thor with the Red Hand, and today we're going to talk about the Atlas locker and whether it's worth locking your Atlas. I've heard that question several times in different conversations, and I'm not a financial advisor, so I can't directly answer that question because it's different for everybody, but I can show you what I look at and what drives my decision making process. So let's get started right into the Atlas DAO. So we go to the govern.staratlas.com. We go into the DAO and we're going to launch that DAO. I'm hooked up to my ledger right now, so we're going to actually look at real numbers. So go figure. Now I want to go to the locker, and on the locker, I have both the Polis and the Atlas locker are available now, which is great since the last 4 to 6 Atlas has been opened up. Now here's where the question is, but the Polis locker is kind of where the story starts for me. Now, I've locked my Polis in a 5-year locker, and I renew that generally on a daily or weekly basis right now to maintain the highest PvP and position in that DAO. I do that because the Polis voting power, which is what I ultimately get from having it locked, as well as a return, is the most important to me. I want to be able to have influence in the ecosystem. And so every couple days, I'll come in and claim my Polis and then relock that maximum amount and then extend the lock period, and I extend it to 5 years. So each time I re-extend and maintain that 10x PvP for every Polis that I have in the locker. My Polis voting power is multiplied by 10. Now you can do the different years. 4 years is an 8x, 3 years 6x, 9 months is a 1.5, 2 weeks is a 0.08x for PvP. And so whatever you want for locking, but I am looking at the long term. So the long term lock is really where my head's at for Polis. And you will see by the end of this, that is the ultimate route that I'm looking for everything. And so with my Atlas, I decided to lock just under one shy of 200,000 Atlas. And I did that because we go into the locker and it gives you a little bit more information. We have 394 million Atlas locked, and we have a total daily rewards of 4,320 Polis. Now it converts your locking of Atlas into Polis rewards. That is the biggest benefit that I have. How do I turn my Atlas into Polis? Now, I have a bunch of ships that I've staked, and really that's where my assets are. So I'm trying to convert my assets into voting power. So I go from the ships staked in score, I get my Atlas. Now I can lock my Atlas and get a rate of return in the form of Polis. The Polis, I then go and lock in the Polis locker and increase my PvP. Okay. That is the route that I'm looking for. And because they have set it up this way, I find that locking my Atlas um, and getting a return for that in the form of Polis is an effective way to do it. It's convenient. I'm not constantly going onto the market and selling Atlas into USD or Sol or something like that, and then buying back into Polis. I can do it right here just by staking it. And I when I unstake the Atlas, I still have that asset. And so that conversion is pretty solid for me. Now let's take a look at what that conversion is because that's also important. So what I have here is actually a spreadsheet I put together right next to my compounding interest formula, which I use regularly for planning out what I want to do with my assets long term. And I would recommend everybody be familiar with the concept of compounding interest. But just alongside this here, what I've done is taken the Polis and Atlas market prices from CoinGecko, and log those in along with the total Atlas I have locked. Its current value is about $815, so a reasonable chunk to try things out with. I'm getting an estimated 2.1975 Polis per day, which is 71 cents per day in Polis rewards, $21 a month, excuse me, and then $258 a year estimated, which that uh, divided by the value that I have locked is roughly a 32%. Now, as Polis and Atlas values fluctuate, um, as the as the market is extremely volatile, that number will shift quite a bit. But as of right now, it gives me a general idea, a 30% rate of return. Is it worth it compared to other things that I can put that uh, $815 of value towards? For me at the moment, yeah, it's worth me keeping it there. It's definitely has the convenient factor of staying where it is. It's going down the path of going from my ship asset to Atlas, converting it into Polis sort of automatically, and then from Polis I lock that and get Polis voting power, and my ultimate goal is the Polis voting power. So let's jump right back to the DAO. And what we will find here, or what I'm looking at here, is that total locked amount. I'm getting roughly a 32% rate of return. I'm happy with that. I also get a fee reduction, which isn't my main focus, but it is sort of a side benefit for me. Some people, this is the main focus. I'm not doing a lot of buying or selling right now of assets on the marketplace, but when I do and as I do more of that, I'll definitely be looking at this percent difference. If I'm able to jump up to the next level at 560, then I very well might, because a 10% decrease in fee reductions is, for a large enough scale, um, can start having a compounding effect on my overall effectiveness in the marketplace. So, but right now, my main focus is how do I convert this into Polis, and is it doing it effectively enough? For me, the that 30% return on investment is fine. And in a bull market, that sounds like pittance. In a bear market, it sounds really exciting, because everything is so volatile. It is not a really accurate estimate. It is just a broad stroke concept, and so that's where my mindset is, and that's what I'm thinking of doing. So I have a little bit more Atlas that I have earned from my ships, and so I think I'll put a little bit more into the Atlas locker, and try to increase this Polis daily rewards. And I think that's going to be an effective way for me to hold that chunk for a while and see how the markets react. Now, as Star Atlas becomes more and more of a big deal, and in my opinion, it's going to. I hope to see that. Then, this may end up turning into a much more valuable place to hold my funds and to allow it to grow. But there's a 21-day um, cooling period from unlocking my Atlas. So it is a long period. It's going to reduce the amount of people that are just diving in for the extraction, yield farming uh, aspect of the Atlas currency through this DAO locker. So I'm okay with that, and it doesn't really affect my strategy. But I imagine there's plenty of people who have that as a high concern. So it has a 21-day unlock period, which really extends the time period that you have to think about this in order for it to be worth it. So if you're trying to do some daily, weekly trades, that's a big barrier. Long time for you to not have access to the assets that you have locked. So yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Don't worry about liking and subscribing, but if you know someone that would find it useful, blah, 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 uh, then share it with them, etc. Hope you guys enjoyed it. This was a little bit more technical one, but I really like looking at the numbers and figuring out a good game plan. I revise this on a weekly basis, and I really do like the conversations. BryBull, for example, is a great content creator that talks a lot about the uh, Bitcoin right now, but the Atlas and Polis markets, and a pretty good perspective of how to look at things responsibly. And I think that's as important as anything else for us in this kind of a market. So just waiting for things to start turning around. I'm excited about the next couple of years for Star Atlas, and have a great freaking day, Metaverse.